Yes, it is the sweet, sweet sounds of another episode of Social Distance Drinking Club. Thank you for joining us for an episode of Booze News tonight. We're missing Brick. No, I'm sorry, Adam. Adam Ledford is missing, but I think we can move on without him for now. He might have killed a guy. Oh, there he is.
I'm here. Hey guys. What did I miss?
Nothing. I'm just drinking scotch. Scotch.
Do you feel classier drinking scotch than a normal beer or your normal, White Claws?
I make up for my White Claws by drinking things like this fantastic bottle of Oban Distillers Edition. That's what I'm drinking.
Is scotch the antidote to hard seltzers?
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Everybody ignored that guy. You're fired. What do you got, Adam Green?
Four Roses single barrel that I got from Costco.
Did you just Four Roses flex on us and then slightly sprinkle some powder on it and say it was from Costco? I'm okay with that. Okay with that.
I mean, yeah, it's good.
Can we talk about how good Four Roses single barrel is for the price? Like when I find out that somebody's house liquor is like Four Roses or especially Four Roses single barrel, I'm like, well, no beer for me tonight.
The best part is Adam Ledford now has 256 ounces of it at home because he went to Costco to get it.
Also, I didn't realize I was flexing with that. I feel really good about that. Unintentional flex.
Quality flex.
JJM says no fly on your head, no care. Hang tight. We're gonna
get Mankey.
Mr. Mankey. You're way too early, but tell us what you're drinking. Taz says Oban Little Bay. All right.
Hey, Adam Green. I'm pretty sure unintentional flex is literally already on our beer name list.
Let's add it again.
Brett Berry, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm we're doing a Booze News Tonight episode. So breaking news, I've been drinking a few things. I started with Tropical Mist from Pure Project. I have opened my last of my Ingenuities.
Oh, fare thee well, Ingenuity. That beer.
Which I didn't want to drink the last one, but I also didn't want to let it age anymore so I could enjoy it while it was good. And then because we're going Scotch, I have the my old boss's private label thing. He aged 24 years from Scotland and imported in 24-year-old single malt.
There you go. Tell us what you're drinking, guys, if you're watching right now in the comment. Mr. Ledford?
I'm going to do a little taste of the Northwest with some Sticky Hands. And let me tell you, Sticky Hands is available in Arizona, and it is the most under-the-radar brewery. If you haven't had it, you got to get that if you like the Northwest style. It's not hazy. You're not agonizing over whether it tastes like orange juice or papaya Umex. Like, it actually tastes like an IPA, and it's fucking delicious. Also, their sours are amazing, and I'm just crossing my fingers that we're actually going to see any of the Black Framboise or any of the super special stuff that they do down the line. So we'll see. Buy a lot of Sticky Hands, and maybe they'll send it to us.
Baby, fingers crossed. I'm trying to convince the guests we're supposed to have on our show today, but we changed things because I have to send a plane to pick up the beer for the show next week. So the show's next week, but to break the news, Magnanimous Brewing Company will be joining us next Wednesday. Keep your eyes peeled. Some of you may know one of the founders, Charlie Mears. He was formerly of Cycle Brewing out in Tampa. They're going to join us on Wednesday, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We're going to make sure you have the info for that show.
Also, keep your eyes peeled for our comments. We got our first spammer, it looks like, our first troll of the night.
Wait. I have been, trying to figure out what I was going to do about my herpes.
You can't say that to people who can't see the comments. There are too many people who watch this show that don't look at the screen sometimes.
But I'm guessing not his wife, so it's fine.
This is too much. This is too much. Hey, guy whose name makes no sense, Godspeed and thank you for joining us. But I'm glad we were getting trolls because trolls means you're on the right track.
It's weird. If you spell his name backwards, it actually spells absurd asshole. I think that's right. I'm not sure.
Bad spelling is a side effect of herpes, Adam.
Yeah, you just ham finger the keyboard until it looks close enough to your name that you can.
Adam's first date includes flipping the receipt over and handing them a pen and going, "Can you spell onomatopoeia for me?"
That's so close to the truth. That's what's.
That's bullshit, man. That's a trick question. No one can spell onomatopoeia.
If you can't, well, I'm not taking you home, Adam. I'm sorry. It's just not gonna
No WAP for you.
All right,
Two things. It was a sound.
So just in case somebody prove me wrong later, but I think it is ONAMATOPOIEA.
I think you left out an E in there.
We'll find out.
Indeed.
Somebody will fact check me. I
We're a hard note, which shows up right in the banner. Thank you guys for joining us. It is Booze News tonight. Before we start, take a look down there at socialdistancedrinkingclub.com. You can get one of these sweet shirts. I've got one, and I think Brett Barry's got one too. They go really well with a nice jacket, so you can still wear these out for like a formal event. Brett's wearing his I Stare at a Computer Too Long glasses, I've noticed. Thank you for making me feel better about actually having a visual impairment.
Well, it really helps me look down on somebody when they make some stupid comment. I'm looking at you, Adam Green.
Gentlemen, first things first. The first story I want to hit is the fact that I have heard that a friend of ours, Mr. PBR, might be getting into the cannabis industry. And this thing hit such big news that we got a really weird caricature to attach to it, but it came from CNN. So shout out to CNN for sharing this information with us. But yeah, PBR in the cannabis industry. The first cannabis drink will be commercially produced may come straight from them.
How did they not call this Pabst Green Ribbon?
I think that might have defeated the purpose. That's what I'm going to go with. That would ruin it. But for you talking shit about me drinking seltzers, it's a lemon-flavored sparkling water, which features a few milligrams of THC, just enough to make you want PBR's new brand of cookies, which also have a few milligrams of THC. Followed by PBR's new chicken joint, Pabst Blue Chicken.
And PBR lasagna is going to be so good.
Wait till we get PBR Ritos. They're spicy. They're not Cheetos. They're PBR Ritos.
Sounds like an item you're going to find at Taco Bell.
There it is. It says 5 milligrams on the can, so I'm thinking cannabis-infused original lemon and a different kind of buzz is what it looks like it says on the actual can there. But only 25 calories, so you get the drink and get medicated for 25 calories of your time. That's what happens there.
Did you guys ever have the cannabis beer? I think it was New Belgium does.
It was the oh God, what was it called? Yeah, it just smelled like straight up weed.
Oh,
yeah, it was CBD. It was CBD beer. It was Emperor. Yeah.
It was interesting.
If I wanted to drink bong water, I would drink Heineken.
There goes that potential sponsorship.
Yeah. You know, I was going to tell you guys Lagunitas was going to join us next week, and you just crushed our hopes and dreams.
I think Brett forgets that a lot of our favorites are owned by a lot of our not always being consumed drinks.
Yeah. Hey, look at me, not getting on my soapbox. You're chilling Adam this week.
That's okay. That's fine. But yeah, so PBR was licensed to Pabst Labs, a California cannabis company, founded in part by some former Pabst employees. No money was exchanged as part of the licensing agreement, according to the article. And Pabst Brewing says it does not have a financial stake in Pabst Labs. Apparently, this was a a nice agreement between them, and it will not even receive any proceeds from the sale of this cannabis-infused seltzer, which is very interesting.
That all sounds shady AF.
Everybody needs a place to launder their weed money, my friend.
It sounds so shady that it's being the business is being hammered out by light of a heat lamp in a dorm room closet.
Yeah, why don't we have like Duct Fan THC IPA? Like let's get real about this. Like let's call it Grow Tent Pilsner. Like
Well, if they should like have a stronger THC content, wouldn't it be like PB, are you getting more paranoid that you're getting high?
let me tell you, once upon a time, I partook in college just this one time, and we went to a pizza joint in downtown Athens. It's called Peppino's. Amazing place, and they had like this thick crust pizza, and it was just the place you went when you were drunk or inebriated in any sense, or just wanted a good slice. And so I'm just fumbling my way through the order, and the guy at the counter just looks at me and he goes, and the place is packed. It's a Friday night, and he goes, THC. It's like, and I was just like, oh God, my world is melting. No one should ever know, and no one gave a shit because no one cares.
No one cares.
What I'm gonna do with that PBR one is just freeze it so I can make it an edible.
Fair enough. At least we know your preferences, guys. If you're ever bringing him a gift, make sure it's edible.
No,
and
and edible.
most of us, I like to eat my gifts.
And edible.
Hemp
Can someone make a THC stout and then have it be like really like a really flavorful one, so where it's like thick but like TH little tiny C and another C?
Oh, like THICC, thick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We just keep giving away great marketing ideas. Guys, this is just the surface of the genius we have. So if you're looking for a phenomenally creative marketing team, contact us. We're great.
Yeah, we're like Awesemo 3000. We can crank out Adam Sandler movies and wheat beer names all day.
Don't shit on it like that. That is creativity to its finest.
Hey, to be fair, also Pabst Pabst Labs, we don't require a cash transaction.
Before we move on to our next story, and this is a Tucson story that's coming up, I want to quickly show you guys. I swung by you guys, for those of you who've watched the show for the last several months, and obviously you guys have been here. I swung by Cotton and Copper. They reopened, very, very limited capacity. Literally grabbed a seat. A quarter of the seats are in there. But this walleye rillette is so beautiful on this bread that was freshly baked. I can't wait to eat it, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to put it back in the fridge in a moment.
Okay.
But also just eat it? Like
He's saving it for 3 hours until it's actually dinner time.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
By the way, check out our new Instagram page, Hot Dudes Eating Foods, but not on camera, because why wouldn't we?
I don't know why we're not doing it. I've done it. I've eaten hot food.
But hot dudes eating hot foods?
That's the same. It's fine. It can be any food you want. You know what? I didn't realize I had to do this so early in the show. But hey, we've got some more news for you guys.
I was just trying to make sense of it. That's all. I'm trying to learn. This is booze news. Educate me on what's going on.
We'll get to it.
Also, I want to be up there now.
That's all right. Next story on the list, gentlemen.
Guys, this is really cool. So imagine like a really awesome gaming store like you would see in some malls if they're cool enough around the country, except for they took the time to go ahead and put in some coolers and get their serving license. I think it's a Series 7. And I'm not sure on that. Don't misquote me. But it's a great idea. I mean, like you have some folks who are going to go in, you're going to do some tabletop gaming, you're going to shop for some comics, you're going to do your thing, and they just have beer and mead and wine now, and it's fantastic. Like, why wouldn't you go there?
I've never heard of the place, and just the storefront alone looks like something out of downtown Disney, which is awesome to me. It's exciting. It looks really clean and slick, and I'm assuming it's inside of the mall. Did you mention that?
It is. It's in Tucson Mall. So just like any other industry that has like a high level of fandom, you've got folks who are like, well, I like fantasy comics in this area. I like heroes and villains. I like Tucson Games and Gadgets. But for most of the people, if you're in the mall and you're like, oh, this place looks cool, now you have like double the reason to go there. But realistically, I think the smart money for them is that if you already went there, you're spending a good amount of time there because it's a comfortable place. It's a place where you feel like you are hanging amongst your peers, and now you can drink Superstition mead. Now you can grab a pint. Like, it's pretty fantastic.
How do we get this guy on the show?
Oh, we could definitely do that. We could definitely do that.
I need Mark on the show. They've got beers and games, and it's literally called Tucson Games and Gadgets. It's speaking to my soul.
No, I'm 1 degree of Kevin Bacon away from this guy, so we can make that happen.
Done.
I like the sword.
Well, I mean, it looks like he's got like an Elder Scrolls claymore in his arms, but also a lantern. So I'm really liking the guy.
They've got Lego collectibles, figurines in all the different sizes because that matters when you're into collecting figurines. Movie posters, comics, tabletop gaming. They do speakers. Like, they do a lot of cool stuff. It's a neat shop. They're working hard. It's tough to have we're talking about like restaurants in COVID, right? We're talking about how difficult it is. Anna, you may be right.
Anna's question is, didn't that store host one of the first drag queen story hours, which sounds like a lot of fun.
So if they hosted one of them, it probably was one of the first.
Man, hey, Tucson is awesome for a lot of reasons. You guys keep doubting. But anyway,
no one doubts that.
My point is that
He doubts it.
I gotta go.
Mr. Ledford.
I just want to do another entrance. No, it's a cool shop. But anyway, my point is we've been talking about like restaurants during COVID. We've been talking about how difficult it is to exist in a world where you suddenly have like a much more limited customer base. And the mall environment has been kind of a retail graveyard for failed concepts for a long time. You're walking around and you're seeing a lot of places that just aren't going to exist in a couple of years. And that's why I think this is really cool. This is somebody who's willing to innovate and evolve and be a bigger part of what people are going to be drawn towards. I'm kind of sad because one more place to buy alcohol takes away from my brilliant $1 million idea. I realized if you could take the Japanese micro bar concept where you can only have like 2 or 4 people at a time, you put one of those next to every Build-A-Bear in every mall in America. And so you have Build-A-Bear and then you have Pound a Pint. And it's just like whichever parent like wins the Rochambeau and gets to not be in fucking Build-A-Bear for a little while, and they get to pound a pint while everybody else is going, oh, I like sugar and cinnamon better smelling than pumpkin spice for my Charizard. It's a $1 million idea. Don't steal it, anybody. I have the cup rated.
No, my idea will be Mr. Wetzel's Get Drunk Here to compliment Mrs. Wetzel's Pretzels.
I like Pound a Pint better personally. No offense, Brett.
Fair.
I think the adult beverage Build-A-Bear question is actually a really good one that I want to pose to the audience. So the adult beverage version of Build-A-Bear called Pound a Pint, or what have you guys got? Send it to us in the comments. I'd love to see it because Pound a Pint is scaring me.
I just know I'm going to make like the freakiest looking bear ever if I'm drinking and trying to build one of those things.
No, it's the point is that it's for the parent who doesn't have to go to Build-A-Bear. It's literally the person who's like, oh, I'll be down at Foot Locker or whatever bullshit lie that they're telling to go down to Cheesecake Factory and slam a martini real quick. Instead, we just make it easier. It's right there.
It's like the bars in the grocery stores with craft beer. It's like, this works.
Well, I mean, those aren't there as an excuse. That's just there because, it's good to have
They were there as an excuse. That might be. I mean, they may not be that anymore, but that's how they started.
To anyone whose significant other might be watching, we apologize for sharing your secret, and we will come up with a new one for you ASAP. We'll come up with our own concept.
I mean, would you be able to also have some like pop-up expansion options where you just have like a craft beer tent at the little bench inside the limited 2 for husbands waiting on their wives in the changing room?
What if you had a kiosk and they just spray aerosolized vodka aggressively as you walk by?
What if we just stop frowning upon carrying your own flask around at a shopping mall?
What if we normalize responsible consumption? That would be weird, right?
Also, the fact that you mentioned limited 2, which I thought was completely out of business, has changed this conversation completely. Is that not the place that I would walk by and they would make people watch you get pierced there?
No.
Yeah.
But then which one was that?
You're thinking of like a Claire's or some shit, or
Yeah,
like,
Charming Charlie's or a Claire's. Listen,
Yeah.
places I never stepped foot into. I'm sorry. My mother took me to Dillard's and Macy's.
I realized that originally I wanted to call my concept something different, but I realized that the subtitle for every ASU bar is Forever 21. So,
That's rich coming from a place where your strip of bars has not changed in the last 30 years.
I did the thoughtful look away, and I didn't realize the use of distance.
You go back down there now.
Get down.
The other option, Ledford, if you can get the right liquor license, you just call it instead of build a beer, build a cocktail, and you just have a bunch of mixers and booze.
I feel like I'm the only one who really sees the value of this alliterative beauty of pound a pint. Like, I thought this would be an easier sell to you guys. I'm not going to lie.
I'll drink with your place. I'll go and drink.
I feel like there's a real chance if you have a place called Pound a Pint next to a Build-A-Bear, some teenager's gonna like deface the sign and say pound a pint size with an arrow pointing to the Build-A-Bear store next door.
God, that's dark.
Unsubscribe. Me no likey. No.
Just telling you what teenagers are gonna do, bro.
It's like this is the Osweepe skit all over again from SNL.
For those of you just joining us, you're here for an episode of Booze News Tonight, hence the reason I've somehow convinced the rest of my co-hosts to wear a sport coat, even though this is one of my favorite items in my daily wardrobe in the next few months when it gets cool enough to do so.
Can we talk about that?
No, we'll get to that in a month or two because that's a true thing. If you want to know how I dress, I mean, I'm bougie. I'm bougie as fuck. You know this already. I like nice things.
No, I want to say when I said we talk about that.
He's just at Dillard's.
I went to Dillard's and Macy's on Saturday. Well, I don't understand the problem here.
Mediocre flex, bro.
I'd be the first person to go to Pound a Pint before I went and decided whether I needed the shoes I just looked at. So like, I've got a problem. Ryan Seacrest, you got nothing on me. All right, pal?
Ryan Seacrest do?
Nothing. He just has to decide whether or not he's more metrosexual than me because I'm happy to admit it. But hey, let's talk about Mechtoberfest in North Carolina.
Yeah, I saw this story.
What?
And like it basically says that if you attended Mechtoberfest in North Carolina, you should probably go get tested for COVID because there are people there who had COVID and those cases connected. And I read this story and I'm like, yeah, what the hell did you think would happen? Like, and this is where I guess different states having different regulations and rules is kind of dumb. Like Florida is now allowing like full football stadiums if teams want. So if the Miami Dolphins actually have fans, they can fill up their stadium. But it's really dumb. This picture isn't accurate, but
Definitely not accurate.
It's good.
Wrong one.
That was a good thing.
Yeah, man, I tried, but Now you're accurate.
This is a bad thing. Did you attend this thing? They urged you to go get COVID tested. Like, yeah, no kidding. And I feel like we can all speak to this. There's a lot of beer festivals and beer events that we like going to and we would have gone to over the last 7 months or so. And as much as we miss going to them, I also feel like none of us are like, oh man, they should have held it anyway. Because the pandemic is still happening. So if you went to Mctoberfest, 1, go get tested, and 2, you're stupid. You should have gone. And the Mctober people, the old Mecklenburg Brewery people, no. And their quote is saying they followed all the guidances and the CDC and all of that. But that's, no.
Well, that's besides the point. I mean, come on. It's a beer festival. Everyone loves beer festivals.
And they're like, very few masks were worn, and there were thousands of people like, you mean people weren't wearing masks when they were drinking beer?
If I had to choose between a beer festival and a Trump rally for a risk of COVID, I'm pretty sure you guys know which one all 4 of us would go to if we had a gun to our heads.
Herman Cain would choose the beer festival.
Yeah, but only one of them would involve a gun to our heads.
That's cool. No, so here's the thing, like, as apolitically as I can speak to it, North Carolina is a state fraught with division. And oftentimes mask usage is kind of running parallel with party lines. But more importantly, they are not a state historically that has had to do like restricted pours. So a lot of the beer festivals in North Carolina end up being like a Pokemon shit show where you got to drink them all. And that's what some people do is you have lots of festival tents and you go up and down the rows and you just literally try to grab every single one that you have. And so say what you will about the Arizona ticketing system, whether it's effective, whether or not people like it, but at least it has a semblance of limitations. Like by the time you tried 25 samples, do you need another 25? My point is the contrast to that is the classic North Carolina Beer Festival where people have tried 50 or 75 by the end of the day. And no one needs that much beer, especially when you create a time constraint around it. We used to highlight the Old Hickory festival because like it was a place where you could like it was 6 hours long instead of 3 or 4, and you could leave and you could come back and you could go get food and there was music and there was lots of like positive incentives to spend longer and do it. And yeah, of course, COVID age stouts are part of that. Who's running the banners tonight?
It's not me. My hands are right here.
Adam Green, do you have something to say?
You're trying to defend. No one's arguing that like people in North Carolina, if you're at a beer festival, drink as much as you want. That's what you're there for, right? And like we've all been to beer festivals out here with a ticketing system. Whether it's effective or not it varies by experience and each person. But I wouldn't have a problem. So it's just, I go to this beer festival. I want to drink as much beer as I can. Go for it. I'm not going to judge you for that. But like if say Arizona decide it's safe to do a beer festival right now, that they're going to allow it to happen. And I don't think it's happened yet, but say in November, they're like, okay, it's cool again. The weather's nice. There's normally beer festivals. Would any of you guys go? Like, I wouldn't because there's still a pandemic and there's a likely chance that there's going to be people there that have COVID and you're increasing your chance. Again, huge event, tons of people, limited mask wearing. It is exactly the type of thing you're not supposed to be going to. And then once you add alcohol to that, you're less likely to be safe, right? Like
that's my point is that when you have full unrestricted access to unlimited alcohol, the ramp of bad decisions escalates exponentially. And maybe Arizona's like, maybe it's a bad comparison to say that Arizona suddenly has a magical cure. I've seen the shit shows that are Strong Beer Fest and Real Wild and Woody. I love the shit shows that are Strong Beer Fest and Real Wild and Woody because there's a high level of security and there's at least the easy out to kick out the wildest offenders and the extremists because they are being assholes. And we do that well.
That's not a unique thing, right? Like that exists in the bar industry and the nightclub world. Like if people are assholes, you get rid of them. That's how things work. If people are assholes at Costco, we're supposed to get rid of them too. We've all seen that on Twitter, with the mask situation. But I think there's a conscious decision that has to be made when you plan something during a pandemic and say, hey, fuck it. You guys can all come in and do the thing. Like that's a conscious decision.
People make bad. Don't make me nerd out and go econ brain, but I'm going to say that there are ways that you can control pricing and access, and you can severely limit demand. Create product.
That's just you know Woodford's in college right now.
No, I mean that's just simple business. Double the price, cut the audience in half. That's easy. You want to be, you want to get here. You want to make it 25% of the capacity and cover your costs. Screw it, triple the price. And then eat up a quarter of it. No big deal. But I'm with you. I'm just saying that you make this decision. If you make it in the sense that you're just saying, let's just go back to what our normal capacity is and just bring everybody in and hopefully everything's okay, that's a whole different story. So the real question is, when will we be able to have a beer fest again, or a cocktail event, or a food festival? Because God damn it, I miss them. We don't know. Nobody does.
Well, clearly it varies by state, right, and by location. But like, if we're just speaking Arizona, never mind if I would be able to. I wonder when you feel comfortable.
It doesn't, and this is something we could spend an hour on debating right now. But from my perspective, working in the events industry and traveling from city to city, sometimes back to back with a couple of suitcases, from one city to another, never going home. It doesn't depend on that at all. It's not cities and states, because what if I have a show for 5 days in North Carolina, which I did earlier this year, and went straight from North Carolina to Texas, and then from Texas to, I was in San Antonio and then went to Orlando. That's, how do you control that? We're not going to get to that world of events.
Different states have different laws right now regarding huge gatherings. So like right now, Arizona's are different than Florida's, which are different than North Carolina's. And that's what I'm saying. Like, events can happen anywhere. Just right now, huge events like this may not be allowed by the states. But I don't know. Like,
Justin Spears says, I'm just trying to go to a home show. Listen, Justin, me too, bro. I'm trying to remodel this bathroom, and I haven't had a chance. Everybody else seems to have fixed up their house over quarantine, and I don't know where they got their money, but apparently everyone worked at a job where you didn't have to leave your house to go to work. So
I'm just trying to get a good line on Flagstone, man. I feel you. Home show would be great right now.
I'm trying to get a good line on Gold Leaf and Italian Marble, but I also am trying to get it for free, and it's not working.
I really want to see what's fresh in Pedestal Saints.
We haven't changed the banner yet.
Oh man, it is still pretty chic.
By the way, there is no C in that. I looked it up. That is all the way wrong.
He said only place you can get a free estimate on a screen door and a bunch of candy. Like every trade show floor I've ever been on, Justin, you are my favorite commenter today. I've gone home with more pen flashlights and styluses I've never used in my life.
Do you like screen doors and also monster trucks and jerky? Come to the home show. Would
you like a tootsie roll, a fidget spinner, and an estimate on your screen doors?
To be fair, that sounds like exactly what kind of home show I'd expect to be at a stadium in Glendale.
I mean, that's all of them.
You guys are great.
All of them. It's all of them.
Like, I won't go near the home shows because after watching enough like the Home Network and all that, all I do is hate my house, and I'm like, I must do all these things to my house, and I can't afford that. Yep. So like HGTV, I watch. I'm like, that's cool in the backyard. Oh, that looked great in the kitchen. The bathroom looked better with that. And it's like, and I look at my house. I'm like, I should just burn it down and take the insurance money. And that's not a good thought to have.
Now that you've said that out loud, we have no affiliation with Mr. Adam Greenberg, Greenerberg.
Also, don't tell Adam that you only get the replacement cost to rebuild the same exact house, which is not what your house is worth.
Which is why I haven't done it. I'm just saying those home shows, I feel like, would make you think that your house is insufficient. And that's what they do. They make you think you need to change your house to be a completely different house.
Dude, in December, when
you property brothers.
In December, when Costco has those like occasional showers and the piano, like the grand pianos, that makes my house feel inefficient. Like, just it's not. Don't do that to the poor guy. Joining us.
Potential insurance fraud.
We're coming close to the wrap up of the show, which is usually where we have a second beverage. Tell us what you're drinking in the comments. I may have more scotch at this point since we may have implicated Adam in an insurance fraud scheme he doesn't know he's involved in.
Implicated myself.
Yeah, but now it's like if someone was deaf and an insurance adjuster, we fucked you. You're done.
That's true. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
That's amazing. Guys, can we talk about a silver lining to the entire goat rodeo that 2020 has been so far?
Goat rodeo is the nicest way of putting it.
I just want to say, if you were thinking to yourself, the only thing that can save my mental sanity is perhaps a jiu-jitsu movie featuring Nicolas Cage, where they have to, create an ancient order of jiu-jitsu experts who fight alien aggressors every 6 years. I have good news for you. It's happening. It's happening.
Is that Tony Jaa?
It is Tony Jaa!
Tony Jaa!
Okay, so seriously, Tony Jaa of Ong Bak fame, and we know fans of the show know Tony Jaa. Also, Frank Grillo from Kingdom, which recently showed up on Netflix, which is an amazing show, and you should get all the way through it. There's so much good things that are going to be happening in this awful movie. I mean, amazing movie.
This has to be fake. That is the most photoshopped Nicolas Cage I've ever seen in my life. Tony Jaa looks like he's never taken a punch in his life. And then who's that down there in the corner? I don't even know who that is.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. It's actually
Frank Grillo. I don't know the girl. I think she's wearing a prosthetic to represent her alienness. But Frank Grillo is one of the lead characters in Kingdom.
Talking about
as
the girl.
well as, I don't know the girl. Skyline, Beyond Skyline, whatever the sequel was to that awful blue light hypnotizing shit alien movie. That was the guy in that. He was so good.
This is a good time to reveal that I am a huge martial arts and kung fu movie fan. I binge watched them. They were my workout movies in college. I would go to the gym and I would watch like old school, like anything you could think of, and just work out, run on a treadmill, and watch kung fu movies. I think they amped me up. Tony Jaa, great movies. Ong Bak, great. The Protector, phenomenal. Nicolas Cage movies are Nicolas Cage movies. And so this is going to be phenomenal. This is great.
This character here looks like somebody doing Alien Megan Rapinoe.
I'm scared of what this is going to turn into.
I just want to know when it arrives, like when it goes straight to VHS. When does that happen? Because I assume that's what this movie's doing, right?
I don't know, Adam. I don't know what you're talking about. Con Air 2 looks great.
The Rock 2. They went back.
Oh my god. Let me tell you, the soundtrack is going to sound so good on cassette tape. It's going to be amazing.
Adam, you were talking about that as being the one redeeming thing of 2020. I do feel like we'd be remiss if there were a few of us who have probably more drunk right now than others because they were watching a certain vice presidential debate earlier this evening. That was the pregame for our show tonight, led into the Social Business Drinking Club. And here's a screenshot from the debate. Kamala Harris, Senator, Vice President Mike Pence. And if you'll notice, on the vice president's head, there's a little black dot there. And if you zoom in, a fly landed on the vice president's head. And I
just thought that this was a poor use of a touch of gray. Like he forgot what touch meant. But then I realized it was a fly.
Neither did he.
It's look, how many times have you guys had a fly land on you and you've ignored it because you've been in the middle of something? We've all done it.
I want to see the statistic of broken TV screens where people were like trying to swat it away from the front of the screen.
What if Mike Pence was just taking Andy Kaufman and translating it to 2020? That's a deep cut joke, but the people who get it will appreciate it.
Oh, man.
I'm just going to put that banner up because I figured I'd give a little bit of an homage to the old band.
Also, Yusuf, clearly that's not a touch of gray. That's a touch of white.
Thank you for that one, though.
Adam, so that's a good conversation, but I want to take it back to what we were talking about earlier. And Adam, you mentioned the idea of like people throwing their shoes or whatever the TV. Do you guys ever come across those things on Facebook where someone's like, check out this video or something, and it has like a fly or something? You're like, get off my screen. And then you feel like, I'm a dumbass. That was the joke. Yep. I hate those.
There it is. Just so everybody can soak it in. If you didn't watch the debates, this is a non-political haha for all of us at this point because it seems to happen. I mean, Bernie Sanders had a bird land on him, or land on his lectern and then fly away, which was awesome. But
the unfortunate thing is there's zero jokes that could be written about the fly landing on Mike Pence's head.
There are a million jokes that could be written about the fly landing on Mike Pence's head. I believe
by the way,
that makes him a shithead because flies land in shit.
Hey, Yusuf, you can't leave a jar of mayonnaise out like that without expecting a fly to land in it.
There you go. They're easy.
I stand corrected. Apparently, you can't make jokes about a fly landing on Mike Pence.
By the way,
hold on.
Negative point for not saying pretty fly on a white guy.
No,
I'm just saying.
No. I had to go with, is that a fly on that white guy? But the face on Kamala Harris here is as if she saw it and went, like just blew a raspberry and lost it. It was fantastic. I love it, man. I listened to most of it on NPR, so when I missed the fly thing, I was very sad. I would have loved to have seen it in person.
Yeah, the best tweet I saw was that fly is Mike Pence's only black friend.
I think
and it left too.
I think we actually have that tweet, and I'm going to pull it up because I think it's hilarious. And then anybody want to talk about some wrap up good news here? There it is. That's fly. That's unfortunate. Sorry, Mike.
That is a thing. That's a thing.
I like how we start by saying it's not going to be political. It's just funny, and then we made it political.
Listen, this is called satire. This is called satire. That's all it is. It's satire. We're allowed to do it. We all put on sport coats today, which means we can be satirists at the moment.
Look, here's the thing. Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, I was going to say, it's not political, but that fly is 80% more likely to get the death penalty after that debate.
We got one more for you guys as we get to the wrap up here. Killing me, guys. There's some news from AB InBev, which seems to be the case every friggin' week. But AB InBev's new partnership could cut carbon emissions by 30% per beer can. Interesting.
As long as they own the product and sell the product at a profit to everyone else who could profit from it.
Then tell us more.
No, go for it. It's fine. It's all you.
I don't have all the info. This was a last minute one. You guys sent it to me before we started. So.
No, they formed a partnership with Rio Tinto, like a miner, about the cans, and they're going to do that to try to cut the carbon emissions. And we can, joke all we want about it as long as they own, the beer that's in it. But at the same time, AB InBev pretty much owns everyone now, so that's a lot of beer cans. That's going to help. It's. I look at this and say, you may not like them, but it's still not a bad thing that they're doing. Like this specific thing, or I guess the camera. This specific thing is not a bad thing in a vacuum. But like by 30% per beer can, like that's not a bad thing.
we have to come to terms eventually with the fact that these are large conglomerations. These brands are not going anywhere, and as much as we want to hang on to what will eventually, by probably our children or whatever generation came in the middle of our lives, we'll say is hipster of us. It's just going to be the thing. AB InBev is going to own a bunch of companies, a bunch of brands that we knew as being independently owned, and it's going to happen. So will all the rest of the brands. It's just, it is what it is. I've come to terms with it. I'm okay with it. And I stopped growing gray hair as soon as I realized that. So
I for one, welcome our AB InBev overlords.
I'll just say that Brett is going to call me out on this immediately, but obviously, as we all remember from college, technological advances immediately increase the production possibilities frontier, and that's just the name of the game as far as controlling your average total costs.
Man, how is Econ 201 going, Adam?
Oh man. Well, guys, this has been a lovely episode of Booze News Tonight. For all of you joining us right now, you can still tell us what you're drinking in the comments. We go back and look at the comments after the show every time. Beer Bob says he's drinking Odd 13's Jam Lord. I thought I saw something else in there that we may have missed. Also, Beer Bob said that movie looks like it's direct to Beta Fish, because that's what you said.
The 2 T's is the fish. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fine. I mean, realistically, how long since Betamax has been viable? And realistically, who knows how to spell that? Well, except we all know it's BETA. So I guess us.
You.
Well,
way to alienate our fans, guys.
Sorry, Beer Bob. You're still my hero.
No one's alienating our fans. Come on now. We would never,
correction. Who's alienating our fan?
We would never do that. Guys, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Booze News Tonight. Go to socialdistancedrinkclub.com and get one of these sweet shirts. They're awesome. We're going to update it with some new merch soon. I'm working on it. There's going to be some cool stuff in there. On the 11th, you can join us for what I love to call halftime, and I'm going to continue doing that thing. I watched you lose your mind, Adam Green, and it makes me happy. And I
didn't lose my mind, just my soul.
And on Wednesday, October 14th, join us for the newly rescheduled episode with Magnanimous Brewing Company from Tampa, Florida. You're going to be excited. We're excited. It's super awesome. We're going to share some of the stuff from them over the next few days. They've got some hilarious video content, and their logo is awesome. And of course, it's dudes with beards drinking beer. So, that's a
where would you find that?
I don't know. But we're gonna ask. And stay tuned for a possible very impromptu episode of the show this week that might happen. We won't say when, we won't say where, we won't say why, but just keep your eyes out on the screen. Follow us. If you're not following us right now, click the follow button. If you don't get notifications for our live stream, now's the time to do it. I promise you it is worth it for what you are going to get this week. Do it.
Hey, Adam Ledford, you're in college. Don't the kids say smash that subscribe button?
Yo, smash that subscribe and like button. Make sure you hit the bell. That's the only way we're getting paid. Yo.
That's the one. That's the one I'm forgetting. I said smash that subscribe in our early episodes, but I forgot to tell people on Facebook, hit the little bell. Make it jingle, baby. Make it jingle.
And for the reference, though, if you tell people there's going to be an impromptu thing, it's no longer impromptu.
Yeah, well, listen.
Is that AP style?
We're gonna straight up tell you there's news coming. Look, you've stayed with us. You stayed with us the whole show. There is stupid, huge, amazing. You're not gonna fucking believe it. News.
Yeah,
be ready, and that's all we're gonna say. Be ready. It's gonna be crazy.
Way to undertell it.
It's surprising news. It's not like we're going to break it to you that Adam Green is a woman. We already knew that. We're going to break it to you that something else is huge. It's massive.
He's a whoa man.
Well, that's what I meant. It's just the curls, man. I don't have them right now. So I gotta do this. I know. It's all right.
You said we to end this episode.
Thank you guys for joining us. You've joined us for another episode of Social Distance Drinking Club and an episode of Booze Night. Don't forget to, what did we say? Smash that subscribe button, click the bell, and do other stuff. Because that's what we got. Cheers, everyone. I'm Yusuf.
Yusuf, welcome.